what matters is that the Constitution avails powers to Parliament to hold and to scrutinize entities and government in line with the law, especially by holding accountable all accounting officers and leaders over matters and observations by the Auditor General. So I believe we are speaking the same thing, only that we have a different background and orientation. You are just doing some simple campaign, but even for us, as on our side, when we are positioned as chair and deputy, now we exercise neutrality to afford a fair hearing, but we must be alive to the law. As to who identifies the error is another issue. How we process it, it is this committee. Yes, Honorable Watua.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Allow me introduce myself, Chair, Vice, and the colleagues and our witnesses. I'm Dr. Batua Timothy Rusala, Member of Parliament of Jinja Southwest in Jinja City, the Member of Parliament where you find Chimaka Aerodrome. Now, Honorable Chair, as we interrogate the Auditor General's report, the questions we've prompted in the preliminaries establishing the legality of the people in the various positions as acting, I believe will form part of our report. But while doing that, we also got communication from the President, a communication requiring officers of this agency to be retired in public interest, which the Minister communicated, demanding that they be fired immediately. Now, my concern, which I think will be important for the report, especially when reporting on that matter, is whether the internal auditor of the agency, if there is one, has any report in regard to the conduct of the people who are dismissed in public interest.
When people mention, and colleagues mention, one mentioned infrastructure, one mentioned this, we are less bothered by what happens elsewhere. The report of the Auditor General for Uganda Civil Aviation Authority was sent to Park Cosase, this committee. And as to whether someone appears elsewhere, those are other matters. But for matters of accountability, it is here, and we shall not take reference to what another committee had who want to hear. And every document must be submitted here, because on matters of accountability, and the rules are very clear, the audit report is sent to Park Cosase. And they also want to use this to air out and clear to some accounting officers. When they appear before other committees, they think they have appeared before Parliament, so it is enough. On matters of accountability, we have standing committees, and Park Cosase is a standing committee on matters of accountability and processes all audit the reports as forwarded by Parliament to the committee. So whether you appeared before another committee and you had a similar discussion, they have a finding they want to reach at. But for us, it is accountability. We want to find who spent what, where did we benefit, who caused the loss, and we have the sole mandate to report back on the audit reports. So I wanted to clear that for this and also for other entities. Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Just seeking for your indulgence that as you are proceeding, whichever we are interested in is not available. So that is where I feel like, with the support of colleagues, these people to give them some time to organize themselves better, so that we can move when we're on the same page. Because Chair, whichever you are asking is not available, we are not prepared for this. So that's what I was seeking from you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to believe that we have the right people before us. My name is Martin Muzale, the MP for Buzaya, that is Kamuli District. Chair, I am disturbed that the president identifies the corrupt out of a pool of many people in the authority, and the minister makes a statement which is also disturbing me, that civil aviation is a rotten entity. It's full of corrupt people. I don't know whether by that statement I should brand all these ones who are here that they are corrupt. But what again disturbs me that he went ahead to pick a few. Now, Madam Acting Director General, are you comfortable with that statement from your supervisor that you are presiding over a rotten entity?
From what I have been also getting, as they try to process the other papers, Chair, there is the issue of these payments, long-term parking at the airport. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of that? Because there is an issue of payments, especially to that company. Who is in charge? Do they really remit the money to government? We need to investigate that as well, Chair, and I hope that this able team will be able to also respond to such. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, as you peruse through the papers, thank you. Before you, Honorable Aki.
Chairman, I think right now, like the issues is raising, my friend Riab, the first question we have to determine is whether these people are right before us, before we go into the real matters. We have so many matters we need to raise, but we are holding back because we need to first determine whether we are continuing with this team. And my opinion is that I think they are right before us, and they have the capacity to represent the organization, but that is subject to your ruling, and then we can now go into the real matters of this committee.
Yes, Honorable Martin.
Chair, you have a table just you prepared for the guests, but you've not invited them.
You are invited to that table. That one is clear.
Chair, as the guests, now that Chair has okayed them, I just wanted on a lighter note, Honomzale wanted to know and wanted the accounting officer to comment on the minister's submission, whether you are rotten or what. I would advise you keep it at that, not to mention anything. I would like to submit the accounting officer.
Thank you. I think let me guide before they respond. Number one, all the information and facts that are coming our way and to our attention will be subject to interrogation. We don't want to say that we are forming opinion at this stage. And it is very effective and in order that we appreciate how the entity we are interfacing with is constituted and transacting. Because every change as made within occasion a cost and speaks to accountability. And that's why it is prudent that we ascertain these administrative issues, which are according to the letters, the letters, and that's why we shall also be interested to look at the Attorney General's opinion, because ordinarily anyone may think that there is an anomaly here. Now there are two aspects. These anomalies cited, aspects of corruption, aspects of the idle properties, mismanagement, but there's also an aspect of who, as to who is actually responsible. But I believe those require thorough scrutiny. And even as we internalize the report of the Director General, we shall reach there. Did you have anything quick to respond to?
Chair and members, once again, I want to apologize that we were not able to have the appointment letters and the other letters that you requested of us this morning. we could have thought through it much as it hadn't been requested of us, but prudence would have required that perhaps we would have thought of it quickly, that by having acting people in positions would have carried those copies. But we have carried the information that had initially been requested of us, Chairperson, and would be happy maybe to hear from you to guide us on the way forward, Chair.
Maybe colleagues have received here one of the documents we asked for: appointment as Deputy Director of Uganda Civil Aviation Authority on contract terms to Miss Olive Birungi Romanya, 18th December 2025. Tenure 4 years. In your introduction, you said you have been serving the authority for 5 years. It's first clear that before you continue.
Chair, it's a renewed contract.
So there's another contract.
The first one I served, which expired, and this is a new contract.
Which one? This is the new one?
Yes, Chair.
New one from 2025.
Yes,
so it is
Chair.
still running.
Yes, Chair, it is running.
Okay. And number two, duties and description. Want to now usher in the aspect of whether she's competent before us. The appointing letter says, as per Part 4, Section 16 of the Civil Aviation Authority Act, Cap 354, and as per attached job description. Now, colleagues, I want to take you now straight to the Act, and we read it and interpret. Under Section 16, Deputy Managing Director. The law provides, these very small letters, there shall be a Deputy Managing Director who shall assist the Managing Director in the performance of his or her duties and perform the duties of the Managing Director in the absence of the Managing Director. Number two, the Deputy Managing Director shall be appointed by the Minister on the recommendation of the Board and shall be responsible to the Managing Director. That is the language of the law. The section ends there. Any input? We are looking. Yes, Honorable Senator.
Thank you, Chair. That takes me back to the question I posed. If Section 16 clearly provides that the Deputy Managing Director shall substantially become the MD in the absence of the MD, the substantive MD, then what's the use of these instruments? Acting capacity, isn't that outrageous or ultra bias? Thank you.
I think, is that question going to her or it is for us? Yes, Chair. What you are reading, the Act, these people's titles are Director General. Now we are talking about MD. Are we reading? Are you sure, Chair, you have an updated? Because Director General, this is MD, but you will wait for your guidance. Are you reading the updated Act or the old UPC one? I believe this is the Act. We shall only need to understand how the terms are interchangeably used as Deputy Director General. Because that Act, Chair, we amended in 10th Parliament. That's why I became Director General. And our legal counsel is your Act, the present Act. Are you beyond the record? Because we receive technical support from our legal counsel. Yes? Yes, legal counsel. He wants to establish whether the Act you have provided is the right Act.
Yes, Honorable Chair, the Act I have provided is the current Act.
And these are the reference to the terminology. I'm also reading it from the appointment letter. And they are referring to the said section. So the language of the section is Deputy Managing Director. And then we have the managing director under section. So Honorable, did your act pass, the one you are talking about?
Chair, that's where in the last time there were managing directors, and the act was passed on this floor of Parliament, in 10th Parliament. I remember, Honorable, you were there, and we changed the name. So I don't know. Anyway, the technical officers may give you an outdated thing, Chair. In your say, yeah. But the issue is the naming, but the content remains the same. Yes. Thank you, Chair.
So the substance of the provision. So maybe let's interrogate also this aspect. Legal counsel, are you sure of your submission? Well, reconfirm.
Honorable Chair, let me confirm and get back to you.
Okay. But the provisions are the same.
Chair, the provisions may be the same, but we changed some few things. But when I read saying MD, I was even my senior here.
We need to interrogate.
She might be reading an old thing.
The legal counsel is protected. She's going to avail to cross-check. And yes, Director.
Chair, allow me to ask our Corporation Secretary acting to clarify on that also.
Yes, Corporation Secretary.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members. Just to set the record straight, Chair, in 2019, this act was actually amended, and that is when the redesignation was effected from Managing Director to Director General. Chair, the same amendment of Section 16 only redesignated the titles within, but did not take away 16.1 that you read, its substance.
So the substance of the section
remains. Only the title.
Only the title changed.
Was changed, yes. And then there's a question asked by Honorable, my land friend, about the redundant, whether or not it's not redundant to have an appointment letter. Chair, the amendment of 2019 that I've referred to under Section 15B does actually provide that the Director General may in writing delegate to the Deputy Director General. So the issue of writing has been left as a discretion. While it is true that in his absence, it automatically falls to the Deputy, there is a may, as and when need may arise. Chair, I do submit.
And I think it is procedurally right that you don't assume as to when and how the director is in office or absent. The writing is indeed a decent approach to communicate absence and to delegate responsibility. So I think the aspect of writing may not have a serious consequence, save a positive consequence that the deputy is well aware. Now, in matters of accountability, the second question is, does it therefore fall that the deputy is an accounting officer? And I just want to relate this, that Madam Miss Olive Wironji, in your own response to the committee, you said that I wish to inform you that the Director General, who is the accounting officer of the authority, is currently out of the country and is not available on the scheduled date. You signed as the Deputy Director General and as the Acting Director General, and you notified us in writing that the accounting officer, who is the Director General, is out of country. Now, assist us appreciate whether you are the accounting officer and or whether the Director General, the names are not mentioned herein, is the accounting officer. Because you must have had a very good background before you write. This letter was written to Park Cosase by you on July 29, 2026.
Chair, I'm the accounting officer when I'm sitting here this morning. At the time I wrote that letter, the Director General was expected to be coming back on that same day. So the assumption was that if he's coming back and is going to be available for that meeting, we can request for a reschedule. So we interacted with him before that letter was sent. But Chair, in my acting position as Deputy Director General, I've taken decisions on behalf of the organization. I've attended the Auditor General's meetings and responded to Auditor General's reports. I've done everything else that an accounting officer should and is obliged to do because of the powers of the Act that gives me the position of Deputy Director General. But I leave the decision to you, Chair, and the members to make that decision whether I'm a rightful accounting officer to sit in here and respond on behalf of Civil Aviation Authority. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Of course, I wanted to vary your submission. By doing administrative work, we have no problem. Even last year, we are questioning you on several other issues. But accountability is a statutory role. That's why we interrogate it further. Whatever knowledge is in is within your reach, we can seek to run for. And equally, the meetings you have attended, they are good, but they don't make you the accounting officer. They interact with you because there is some knowledge and information in your knowledge. However, we just want to ascertain on this. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. From my understanding, and I've also made my own research for Ministry of Finance, the role of accounting officer can only be delegated once it is put in writing by that very person who was given the authority. Let's say the PSST normally appoints accounting officer. In this case, it should have been the Director General of the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. So if the Director General is on leave or he is indisposed, by the time you act as the acting Director General, you must have that power, that position to have the accounting powers. So in this instance, you cannot come here and say you have accounting powers when it is not put in writing. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before that, we are interrogating a situation where Ms. Olive herself wrote talking about an accounting officer in her own right up to the committee. And now, this presupposes some knowledge within her account, whether he was supposed to return or not, but by the time she was writing, he was not here. And her appointment letter isn't elaborate as that. We are yet to cross-check also with the Act. Now, what was your input?
Chair, that's why I said I thank God you are chair and you are a landy person. Chair, as they get the rightful act, because the legal officer, I want to go on record, he brought an old thing. Chair, if we could interrogate and interpret for us the act. If the act which Parliament made gave her to be an accounting officer of that end through the act, then the letter of PSST to me becomes inferior to us. I said if, Chair.
Which section are you reading in there?
I said I'm relying on you, Chair. I'm relying on you. But as we get the new act, not that old one, I guess. Chair, I'm relying on you to interpret for me as you wait for the real thing. Thank you.
So in a situation that you haven't read the relevant section, that would vary the legal counsel. Let's hold on that as well. Yes, Mr. Senteza, Honorable Senteza. Honorable Senteza.
Thank you, Chair. As far as interpretation of the Act or laws, it's specifically that Section 16. Miss, is it Olive?
Olive.
Yes.
Olive Virunji.
Miss Olive Virunji can only become an accounting officer in the absence and mark the word absence of the MD. As of now, the MD is in office, save that he's, for health reasons, he has stepped out. If, for example, the MD was either sacked or dies or something, whatever, then you assume that office by virtue of your being the DMG. Then that's when you automatically becomes that's when you automatically become the accounting officer. But in this instance, you have a substantive MD who is not in office for one reason or another, but he has not delegated those powers to you in writing as per section 15. So, Chair, I submit that she is not the accounting officer.
I think Honorable Senator is trying to bring in a very interesting position. Whereas the Act provides that the deputy shall assist the principal and that in the day-to-day operations. Then in absence, then the deputy acts. Now I think he's bringing into interpretation the question of what the law meant by absence. Is getting fitment somewhere or being out of office interpreted as absence? I think that is your submission. So, Madam Olive, did the Director General write to you? Because on matters of accountability, we want to believe he was the accounting officer, and as you communicated, he must specifically write to you to act in his absence on matters of accountability.
Chair, the letter you have with you that I've provided is the kind of letter that the Acting Director General has been leaving behind with me.
Which one?
Which he also shares with the Board of Directors.
Which one?
Just bring it.
You haven't shared such a letter?
Check. We'll share that. Let them check, because we have the letter that the Director General wrote to me asking me to act. Copy to the Board of Directors, and that has been the practice, Chair. But we are going to share that with you.
We need to interrogate that letter. It is not among these you have shared. I'm receiving a letter here dated 13th July 2026, away from office to Berlin. I'll be away from office from 15th July to 10th August 2026, or as will be advised by the hospital to continue specialized treatment. Following up, while I'm away, you will take charge of the organization. You will take charge of the organization, in which case you will continue following up and leading teams in the performance of the organization activities. You are familiar with all the current organization activities as indicated below, plus emerging activities. We have already discussed some. The following, however, need to be focused on, following up on issues regarding Kabalega Airport, among others. I did engage the minister on the proposed meeting with the board. He has, however, please feel free to consult me on phone when you need us to discuss matters. Freddy Keba Mwesige, CC Management. My challenge is that the memo used abbreviations from DIGI to DIGI. Madam Olive, I don't know if these are... The date is 13th July 2026. To 10th August, from 15th to July, 15th July to 10th August 2026.
So the letter has it expired?
So the delegation has expired.
Today is 9.
And two, they use the abbreviations. I don't know if they are tenable. DIGI to DDG. Is it what? So
Chair,
what what if he made maybe a different?
Chair, just to add on the issue of July to 10th of August, he adds to say ORs will be advised by the hospital to Berlin to continue specialized treatment. Chair, he indicated this because when you're dealing with medical issues, you're actually not in control of what exactly happens. And because he's seen this trend happening since November, he made that provision there. On the titles, Chair,
is it a provision of the law that you use DG
and then maybe, Chair, just to add on number 6.
No, before number 6.
Okay.
These titles. Now, he was writing to who? And who wrote? Of course, he signed as Fred Mwesige. How do you arrive at these titles? We need to appreciate that the letter was actually meant for you.
Chair, I want to believe, because this is an internal memo, and the internal memo at Civil Aviation Authority, Chair, we do use the titles. His title is DG, Director General, and my title is DDG, Director General. Chair,
do you have a document within the system that brought into use these abbreviations? Because for the Act, we look into in the interpretation section. We don't have
Chair, we are proceeding to check the Human Resource Manual, but the letter is signed by Fred, both at the front and at the back, as authenticity.
That one I appreciate. Yeah. He signed and wrote a name without title.
2 pages, yeah.
However, it is not addressed to. We want to see to whom it was addressed.
Chair, we have the Human Resource Manual of Policies and Procedures,
yes,
July 2022, which lists the acronyms starting from the titles. We have DAS, Director of Airports and Aviation Security, DANS, Directorate of Air Navigation Services, DDG, Deputy Director General, DG, Director General, DHRA, Directorate of Human Resource and Administration, DISA, Director of Safety, Security and Economic Regulations, FSS, Flight Safety Standards.
Maybe that manual was approved by who?
Chair, this manual, as per the provisions, is approved by the Board of Directors.
And when was it approved? Why did he write to you as the way he signed? Wouldn't it be easier on such serious matters? Yes, Honorable Senator.
Chair, thank you once again. We appreciate the methodology of working.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I am cognizant of the fact that each institution has its internal management and probably those acronyms
continue.
Thank you, Chair. I was alluding to the fact that we appreciate that each institution may have its internal management and works modus operandi. But just like the DG wrote to you, notifying you that he will be out of office from 10th, whatever dates those were, and he indicated that should it require him to stay still in Berlin or somewhere else, he will. He should have done the same thing. That following my appointment, which was scheduled for this and between this and this, and we did not realize what we wanted to realize medically, I am still there. So he should have followed, he should have given you another instrument to that effect. But the one you've presented now, a limitation.
Chair,
motion.
Thank you, Chair. This country is governed by laws and we must follow the law. Chair, the Public Finance Management Act and also recently the Ministry of Finance released the Public Finance Charter, and the Ministry of Finance was particular in the 2026-2027 Finance Charter. It is specific that accounting officers are personally liable to make sure that they account to Parliament. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask whether we are moving right by the acting Director General to say that she has the authority when actually it is not in writing. I still insist we should not proceed because this permission is not put in writing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. What did you have to say?
Yeah, like I said initially, I said the prerogative, Chair, of this decision rests in your hands. All we are trying to do is to submit whatever information we had to prove to you that I'm in this position by virtue of the acting position and in writing by the Director General, including Chair, that I've attended other parliamentary committees in the same capacity, basing on the same letter. But Chair, this I leave it to you, Chair, and the directors. You will guide us on the next action and will oblige with whatever decision you take as Chair.
Your last communication with the Director General, what was contained therein?
Chair, I don't have that in writing. It's on phone call.
Yes.
And Chair, if you're not well, you're not well. Because he told me that he had planned to come back on Saturday. And he rang us when we were next on Monday and said that due to the doctor's guidance, he's unable to travel back to Uganda. That's on phone, Chair. It's not in writing. What I have in writing is what expired.
What you have in writing is what expired.
With the provision of saying that he will not be, if he's not well, it will depend on the doctors.
Yes, Honorable.
Chair, I think, Madam Deputy Director, your statements are making Chair. You will make Chair in a bad way because you yourself, you are saying your document is expired. You have what? But Chair, I don't know whether our clerk has gotten the act. Because when the Director General writes, if the Act of Parliament said that she can be accounting officer, anyway, that's what I want your guidance. I don't know whether it has got. Thank you, Chair.
Our legal counsel has got the right provision and has considered on the amendment. She's now interrogating the content of the section 16 to be certain. But needless to say, because of the nature and the revelation within Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, where even top managers and directors are now facing a possible interdiction. I want to use a favorable language. And several in acting capacity. As we process the findings of the Auditor General, we must be particular. Because we must identify and receive the appropriate answers and responses on the auditing queries and observations from the right parties. But so far, what we have identified, we shall need an interaction with the board. We need to appreciate its functionality and their failure to offer oversight. Because part of the reasons mentioned for the interdiction are also observed by the Auditor General within the audit report 2024-2025. And now this speaks volumes. Number two, the nature of delegation. Of course, the language of the law has assisting the director and also the aspect of absence, which require a thorough interrogation. But as well, with the presence of the Director General, as a preliminary, we are not yet convinced with the chronology of administration and the transition from the person absent to now you in your acting role. For the abbreviation, she has presented, what manual was it? We shall need a copy, a human resource manual, to clarify that these abbreviations, which are not provided for within the Act, were actually processed, because even the delegation was a bit tricky, that they did not mention her name or her full title. It has an abbreviation. So we had to interrogate further to the manual, which I think provides for this abbreviation, and at that level, I would believe so. Now, as to whether this has been extended in writing, she has mentioned it has been extended verbally.
Which one, Chair?
Yes?
Chair, the acting letter that I read, it said I will be away from the office from the 15th July, 10th of August,
Yes.
or as will be advised by the hospital in Berlin to continue with the specialized treatment. And I explained that I want to assume that he indicated it in here because the number of times when you go for medical attention, it's never clear whether you'll take 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I think he was basing on the precedents that have been going on ever since he started going for the medical treatments. And I think that's why he put it in this letter.
So, colleagues, let me ask here, how should we proceed in the circumstances? Yes, Honorable Kawalia, be on record.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, since you're the one in charge of this engagement, you have the right to make a ruling whether they should continue with us or whether we should discharge them. Then we can fix them to come to another date when the MD is there. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, I'm Tuesige Stephen, Member of Parliament and a member of this committee. Chair, if we could be guided by Section 45 of the Public Finance Management Act, and specifically 6 and 7, there are clear provisions that the accounting officer role can be delegated. And to this, since the acting Director General, who is the substantive Deputy Director General, has a letter assigning her the office, I really find no problem in us proceeding to have them because they are legally here before us. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I want to say that I support the previous speaker because there is a dilemma right now. She thought that the other one would come in, but the time is going out. And when you are just starting, if you don't have all the mandate, it doesn't, because you don't know. And indeed, we have tried to mention it severally here. And for that, my concern that at the end we will find that even that nothing has been done, because the expectation of someone coming back was she knew. But now as we continue, and yet we know that this entity has been on the, I can say that it is not good where we are coming from. But if we are coming from, and the entity which has embarrassed the government and the Ugandans, but it cannot, now no work can be done right now. So if we cannot write, then maybe we can say this. Let us maybe give it another extra meeting, 2 weeks, and we see how we are moving. And also the other issue, we also to provide case. We should also talk. We are looking at today's status. Are we moving, or we are still where we are at that time? Or because everything is a shortage, it's not very clear because of that. So if we can give some 2 weeks and then they come back, it would be better. And that's what I can say. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Zahara.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, my name is Honorable Zahara Malalidika, the MP for Much in the West. Honorable Chair, whereas Part 7 of the Public Finance Management Act, Section 45, Subsection 6, stipulates well that an accounting officer may delegate a function or responsibility of accounting officer specified in this act to a public officer under the control of the accounting officer. And subsection 8 goes ahead to say, 7, where an accounting officer delegates a function or responsibility under subsection 6, the accounting officer shall give such directives as may be necessary to ensure the proper exercise or performance of the function or responsibility. And 8 concludes it with an accounting officer shall be personally accountable for a function or responsibility that is delegated under this section. Chair, my point here is there has been a reason as to why we are interrogating their legality while they are here. So, Chair, giving that background and the reasons best known to us as the committee, as we wanted very much to understand their legality while seated with us here, Chair, please, it is in your wisdom to decide on the way forward. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable. Chair, I've liked your leadership. I know you have, but you are giving us an opportunity. And that's very good. I'm commending you. Yeah, because Chair can guide as a lawyer, but also as the chair of the committee. But it's giving us an opportunity. But Honorable Chair, it's on record that the act we had was an old one. So that one. 2, now that the other act is Deputy Director General. No, Chair, I think you are deputy or is a vice. He cannot do unless you have delegated. But for deputy, he's given powers by the Constitution. That's why even right now, the Deputy Speaker is the one chairing the House. And he will take decisions as the Speaker. But nonetheless, now that we have House at 2, it is past midday. As you make your ruling, Honorable Chair, because of the ping pong, I would request, unless the accounting officer says he can answer in these few minutes, that you guide, but in the wisdom, to say the accounting officer, when you guide, goes back, and in the morning, since all these administratives, Chair, you have guided, we just come and start work, and we pray that the real accounting officer will have wished well and come back. But I'll wait for your guidance, Chair.
Let me take this, Chairman. Yeah, of course, in delegation, they delegate the authority, but not the responsibility. I think he has delegated the authority to her, but he remains ultimately responsible. In my personal opinion, of course, I would feel these people are capable of answering our questions, but legally, having read some acts here, I find that we may waste a lot of time dealing with the wrong people. So the way forward is let Madam Olive go and get some letter maybe from his boss or from the permanent secretary of finance, or letter even 1 page, I mean a line just saying Olive, whatever, you are now the acting and accounting officer. Then we
prepare well and come back when they are substantive in those capacities.
Thank you. Colleagues, I've given this an exhaustive approach so that we capture the minds of colleagues and accorded the civil aviation opportunity to respond where possible. Now, the background of our interface, first of all, begins with the Auditor General's report and observation. As way back as 2024-2025 financial year. And subsequently, we have also learned in this meeting that in July, what is cited herein, this is July 2026, is an observation to do with unfunctional scanners. Now, if you relate way back, that the Auditor General observed in 2024-2025, the same. This particular communication is dated 2026, meaning the situation has not in any way changed. When you look at the said leave by the Director General, it is also in the same July, the same month of this letter and directive. It's also seeking leave in July up to August. It may be true, it may not be true, but we want to take it as that. And the subsequent changes thereafter. Now, with that background and in the circumstances, we shall not be quick to believe that whereas human beings can fall sick, that rhetoric of away for medical reason can be tenable without substantial proof. In the circumstances that the deputy and the responding deputies were interdicted, someone may choose to be away just to avoid being part of this particular process. We are not yet convinced that the Director General, much as he may have been off and on, but the period and the background is questionable. It is July, the same month where you have a presidential directive, where you have this. But again, these same observations were already available within the Auditor General's report. So we cannot just take it lightly. And the communication, he chose to use abbreviation. We don't want someone to run away from liability and responsibility that I wasn't given the opportunity to clarify. Because I had some colleagues telling us, how can this one be interdicted and this one left? I think I had it from a member here. It's from you. Yeah. So we want to appreciate this background. We want to say that the accounting officer was misrepresented. However, even in the circumstances that we have a deputy, I believe from your own confession that the letter had a date, although she tried to explain by the other language of the letter which has no date. So I believe it will be prudent that for us to proceed well, you get a follow-up letter validating the extension, so that we don't rely on your phone conversation where we are not parties. That we talked on phone. I was even in Exco. I think I captured you well. We don't want to rely on your translation of the phone conversation, because you can say, I did not tell this to my deputy. At least for this in writing, we can be sure. But it may say, I did not. Let's get an updated version of the delegated responsibility. In circumstances that we are struggling to interpret absence and also assisting a deputy, in line with accountability, you may also need to seek some additional clarity. You also understand the background of your entity. A presidential letter is saying there is corruption. There is corruption. The Auditor General is also alluding to many of these revelations. But we can also not be held back because she needs to consult. As a committee and with this observation, aware that the board, also we have issues to do with the board, we shall first of all proceed and invite the board. And the board of Civil Aviation Authority, because we have respective issues and questions for them. We shall also proceed and inspect make a spot-on inspection, physical inspection, because when you hear such allegations of unfunctioning scanners, now the public must be facing the inconvenience. We have within the audit report the same, and the Auditor General has just referred to some of these as idle assets that the Auditor General is not telling us that they are either faulty or not, they are just lying there. So it means we also need to do a physical inspection, and probably we shall ascertain who is in charge than making assumption. Clerk, when can we have this inspection? It looks urgent. It looks urgent. We need to make. So colleagues, how is tomorrow if we make a spot-on inspection on civil aviation? Tomorrow morning at 8? Yes? Okay. At 8 tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. So, Civil Aviation Authority, we don't want to hear about scanners, non-functioning and what have you. So tomorrow we are going to start with an inspection, and then we shall decide when to engage the board. I think 2 hours will be enough for us to inspect some of. We are inspecting only Entebbe. Entebbe. For any other distant place, we may appoint a team to delegate a team.
Honorable Chair, I beg your pardon on that matter. Can we extend to at least?
I will permit those who are busy and assign a team that must do this, because these entities cannot be allowed to play around with the time. And we had invited Civil Aviation earlier 2 weeks ago. They requested to appear today, and we are notified that the Director General will be here. Maybe as we tour around, some of the workers may tell us that the Director is hiding here. So we may also land on some additional information. Why should we abate a situation where they are receiving letters directing them on what to do, when we who must hold them accountable cannot hold them accountable on time? Now that they appeared today without their substantive Director General, they have offered us explanation. We need to be certain. Clarification on what? Before you come on the record, it was what? Because I'm making a ruling. I think we can entertain that. He landed on some letter written by a dismissed executive officer, but we can interrogate that. So tomorrow we are going to make a spot-on inspection on Civil Aviation Authority. Our areas of interest will be the items. Our areas of interest are these idle items, which are also within the interdiction letters. We believe it is pertinent, and also other incidental matters. Let's make this spot-on inspection for 2 hours, probably, and ascertain what is on ground. We cannot leave the discretion of time to Civil Aviation Authority, especially where there are allegations of corruption, mismanagement here and there. Some officers are interdicted. I think we must also act within time. So I so direct that the Civil Aviation prepare to assist the committee in appreciating what is on the ground. Probably it is different, and probably many may have changed. As we continue with the interface, the date for our subsequent meeting will be communicated through the clerk, and also the date for the board will be communicated through the clerk. I saw advise and all meeting adjourned. Much obliged.
I wanted to thank Zikiriza to thank. Please allow me.